The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Got a special guest today for this week 3 of college football. That's right. Here he comes. La 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 la. You know what this is, class? That's right. It's a Smurf, and he's got something to say. Tell him, Smurf.
Hello, I'm Nebraska football, and I don't exist, just like Smurf Village. Also, I'm Colin Cowherd's credibility. I don't exist either.
That's right. And thanks to Common Joes and Sally's in the Know once again is Bart Weisenhut and Heath Stokes put me on to this little nugget about Colin Cowherd suddenly trying to backtrack and get on that boomer schooner. Y'all don't let him on now. Kick him in the face like that movie, The Christmas Story. Kick him right in the face. Let's talk about it. Here we are again, another episode of the OCF. That's me, JPC. And that stands for Outlaw of College Football. And the JPC stands for Jesse Paul Clark. On Facebook, JESSE without an I. That's right. Also, I'm on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it. Seems like old Colin Cowherd has once again cowered down and trying to be all sleight of hand and trying to get back on the Boomer Schooner. And I've even seen some Boomer Sooner fans out there sort of liking it and loving up to it. And I'm like, y'all not remember how he been grilling the hell out of you guys and kissing up to those USC Skittle shitters out in LA? Well, see, what Colin's done is he's come to an epiphany of sorts, and he's like, look at all this damn great recruiting that Brent Venables doing that I said couldn't be done. Now, look at them winning games left and right. Like I said, couldn't be done. Now, it is true that Nebraska sucks. Nebraska's in a bad way. Nebraska football, by the way, there's talk of you going after Urban Meyer. If y'all do that, man, y'all going to lose all credibility with me. I don't care if the man comes in and wins you a national championship. The years that follow those kind of successes with him makes your program pretty much morally bankrupt, in my opinion. But let's get back to Colin. That's right. Oh, Colin did a little article the other day, as you can see, and Colin basically said these are his top 5 teams. And guess who's not listed? That's right. Those USC Skittle shitters, the one that he's been slobbing the knob on for quite some time. Really? I mean, is it that? Are you that transparent, man? I mean, I hope and pray that the Oklahoma fans don't forgive you as quite as easily as you think. He thinks he's going to come in here, make a little article, kiss up to Oklahoma, and people are going to suddenly forget all the crazy and asinine statements that him and his little buddy Tebow, that's Linky Boy, old Lincoln Riley, the bitch out west, have been saying about you can't recruit to Oklahoma, you can't win in Oklahoma anymore, blah, 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 blah. And the list just keeps going on and on. Don't let him back on that Boomer Schooner wagon now. Y'all don't let him back on there, because I'm going to be grilling him unmercifully for the rest of the year. He's not going to get a reprieve. He's not going to get a chance to say, hey, look, I said way back in September that Oklahoma's the second best team. I've been saying this the whole time, the whole season. Yeah, You just started saying it this season, but the whole off season and even way back in November of last year, you've been on Oklahoma's ass, saying all sorts of atrocious shit, getting Linky Boy to do all these interviews to try to do harm to the University of Oklahoma instead of worrying about coaching your own team. USC's doing decent. They're doing what they're supposed to do right now, so I can't say too much about them. But we'll know a little bit more about USC once they get into conference play a little bit deeper. Stanford being 3-9 last year, sorry, Colin, that didn't count. And Oklahoma the other day blew out an old-time rival, 49-14. Now, and a lot of people say throw the record books out the window. Hell, I've been even guilty of saying it before, but it's actually not true. In this series, when the other team is down, you can't throw the record books out the window because usually it's a big-ass blowout. But what happens after one or the other blows the other one out, because they both put like 70 points on each other a couple of times, they end up righting the ship and getting the right coach. But sometimes history changes its narrative. And with Nebraska, I'm not sure that they can right this anytime soon. If they go out and hire Urban Meyer, he might help them for 2 or 3 years, but then he's going to start doing the shit that he does. You know, like covering up for spousal abuse and groping on girls that's barely past their teen years while he's got a wife sitting at home, kicking kickers while they're down. Yeah, Nebraska, y'all don't succumb to that shit, man. Y'all are supposed to be some of the best fans around. At least that's what I've heard. I don't know from experience, but I've heard from some of the Sooner Nation and other people that people from Lincoln are pretty damn good fans, pretty knowledgeable, and they don't sacrifice their morals for football glory. Excuse me. But that's good to say in theory. But when you really put it to the test, will Nebraska stand up to those compliments? Me personally, I'm starting to think that Nebraska's fans have been a little oversold to us, because I saw some of their fans running around with Hire Meyer t-shirts on. And while I want to win too, just like everybody else, I want my football team to win. I don't want to do it at the thought of sacrificing human decency and morals just for football glory. Now, talking about Oklahoma's victory the other day, 49-14, people going to come in here and say, well, Nebraska sucked. They lost Northwestern and they lost to Georgia Southern. Well, yeah, they did, but Oklahoma did what they were supposed to do. Just like USC sort of did what they were supposed to do. Just like Alabama did what they were supposed to do the other day. You can't bitch and have it both ways, people. Oklahoma did what they were supposed to do. Now give them the credit. Now, I will give you this. They still haven't really proven themselves completely to me and a lot of other people around the nation. Except Colin, you know, because now he's starting to see the light a little bit and he don't want people backlashing on him. But Kansas State, I thought, would be the big test for Oklahoma. Because, you know, they basically house Missouri. But then they turn around and lose to Tulane at home. So, now people are going to say, well, Kansas State's not that good. So we're not going to really know how good Oklahoma really is until they play those Texas Longhorns. Or maybe even those upstart Kansas Jayhawks. And to a degree, if Baylor gets back on track after a loss to BYU, they can prove themselves against Baylor. There's still games they can prove themselves against, but it sort of sucks that Nebraska bottomed out and now Kansas State pulled the shit they pulled with Tulane. But it's coming. The wrath is coming from Oklahoma and the Crimson Nations, even my team Alabama. we gotta pick it up a little bit offensively, but we scored 63 points yesterday. I say that, but a lot of special teams scores and interceptions and all that kind of stuff, sort of misleading for Alabama. But Crimson Nations, when I say Crimson Nations rule, that's not just a saying. That's what I believe. That's what I think is real. Because Alabama and Oklahoma, it seems like they may be on a collision course eventually. maybe even Oklahoma and Georgia, because Georgia's looking pretty damn good. But right now, even Colin Cowherd is having to say that Oklahoma may have their day a lot sooner than people think. And that's all I got to say about that. There's a little heart option down here. It says thanks. Click on that. Give me a few dollars in the coffers. Keeps me up and running. Keeps me motivated. Keeps me off that YouTube teat. When they try to censor me, they put me on limited ads last week over some silly shit. And that's why I need for the Common Joes and the Sallys to help me out. And with that, KMCA to all the other teams, class is now officially dismissed.